2025 isn't about panic buying. It's about settling on the gun you'll actually live with. The last few years have turned a lot of casual gun owners into serious students. People tried the latest gimmicks, swapped pistols every 6 months, and finally figured out something simple. The best handgun is the one you'll carry, train with, and keep close when the world acts up. In 2025, that reality hits harder than any headline about shortages. Walk into any range, concealed carry class, or small-town gun shop, and you start noticing the same thing. Different people, different backgrounds, but the same small group of 9mm pistols on their belts and in their bags. That's what this list is built around. Not hype, not catalog art, but 10 handguns I keep seeing in holsters, on nightstands, and in class photos from all over the country. These are modern striker-fired 9s that can cover day-to-day carry, home defense, and real practice on the range. We'll talk about who they fit, what they're actually good at, and how they slot into real American lives in 2025. Ruger Max 9. Most people don't start their handgun life with a $2,000 race blaster. They walk into a store with a fixed budget, point at something that fits their hand, and hope they didn't mess up. The Max 9 is making that decision a lot safer for Ruger. It's small enough to tuck under a t-shirt, light enough that you don't hate wearing it all day, and still gives you double-digit 9mm capacity. What sets it apart in its price lane isn't bragging rights on paper. It's how honest it feels on the line. The sights are easy to pick up, the recoil impulse is friendly for newer shooters, and the frame texture keeps the gun from twisting without shredding your skin. Ruger cuts the slide for popular microdots, so you can buy the pistol now and add glass later when your skills catch up. Out in the real world, the Max 9 ends up doing a lot of unglamorous work. Stuffed in a small safe, riding in a travel bag, or getting handed to the family member who finally took a class and wants their own gun. It's not a flex piece. It's the point where a lot of people stop talking about buying a pistol someday and actually do it. If you spent any time around concealed carriers in the 2010, you saw a river of original shields. They weren't sexy, they just worked. The Shield Plus takes that same everyday carry DNA and quietly updates it for modern expectations. More rounds on board, better trigger feel, and factory options that play nicely with today's optics and holsters. The big draw here isn't one flashy feature. It's how familiar it feels if you've been running an older Shield or other slim carry guns, but with extra capacity baked in. The grip fills the hand more confidently than a lot of skinny single stacks, yet it still tucks into normal concealment clothes easily. The trigger has a defined wall and a clean break that makes rapid strings at 7 to 10 yards feel controlled instead of frantic. For a lot of shooters, the Shield Plus becomes the grown-up upgrade from their first carry piece. Same role, same comfort, but more performance and fewer excuses. It's the gun that ends up doing grocery runs, road trips, and long days in a compact holster without much drama. Glock 43R MOS sits right in that sweet spot for people who want a pistol that disappears under normal clothes but doesn't act like a tiny pocket gun when the timer comes out. The slide is trim, the frame is long enough for a confident purchase, and the top end is cut from the factory for small red dots that utilize the popular micro footprint. What really sells it isn't a spec line, it's rhythm. Draw, present, press. It behaves enough like a larger Glock that your training time carries over. The controls feel familiar if you've used the brand before, and maintenance is about as simple as it gets. Basic field strip, a little lube, and it's ready to go back in the holster. Capacity can be kept conservative with the standard mags, or pushed higher with vetted aftermarket options once you've tested your setup. Down here, this is the pistol that lives in plain kydex under button-down shirts, walks into church, rides in the console on long drives, and still runs clean drills when you take it to a class. Canik TP9 Elite SC. Canik built a following by giving regular shooters features they usually only saw on pricier pistols. The TP9 Elite SC is that formula in a smaller package. On paper, it's just another double-stacked subcompact. On the line, it feels like someone shrunk a range gun down just enough to hide. The trigger is where most people raise an eyebrow the first time. The break is decisive, the reset is easy to catch, and you don't have to fight a long, mushy pull to get work done. That makes a difference when you're actually timing your drills instead of just poking holes in paper. The frame lets you get your hand high and locked in, so the slide tracks straight rather than hopping around. From the factory, you get magazines that cover both roles, a shorter option for concealment and a longer one for training or colder weather when you can dress around it. Add the fact that the slide is ready for micro-optics and that it often shows up at a price that leaves room for ammo in the same paycheck. And you see why a lot of shooters use this as both their carry gun and their class gun. CZ-P10. See, some pistols are made to win catalog comparisons. The P10C feels like it was made for people who stand on concrete and shoot until their thumbs hurt. The grip angle and contouring let the sights line up naturally when you punch out, especially if you grew up on metal-framed CZs or other classic service pistols. The fire control system is one of the nicer striker setups in this bracket. The initial movement is short, the wall is noticeable, and the reset allows you to ride it for fast follow-ups without guessing. The slide has generous front and rear serrations that make press checks and malfunction drills straightforward, even with sweater gloves in the mix. Ambidextrous controls mean left-handed shooters are not stuck working around a right-handed design, and right-handed shooters can push themselves with support handwork more easily. With the optics-ready variant, a mid-sized dot, and a decent holster, turn the P10C into a crossover that can handle league nights, classes, and serious defensive roles without feeling out of place. Springfield Hellcat Pro Comp, OSP Springfield, looked at the wave of small high-capacity 9mm and decided to borrow a trick from the competition world, controlling muzzle rise mechanically, not just with grip. Instead of hanging extra hardware off the front, they sculpted the top end of the Pro into a built-in gas port right at the muzzle, keeping the overall length manageable. The result on the range is simple. The gun lifts less between shots than most pistols of its size. When you switch from slow fire to realistic defensive pacing, the front sight or dot doesn't wander as far, which means less work for your eyes and your support hand. You still get a slim frame, magazines that hold enough to matter, and an optics-ready slide that's happy to host a modern micro red dot. Where this pistol really shines is for shooters who are tired of choosing between easy to carry and easy to run. It vanishes inside the waistband, but when you step onto the firing line and start pushing par times, it behaves much closer to a mid-size gun than its footprint suggests. Glock 19, Gen 5. Ask enough instructors, armorers, and cops what they recommend to someone who wants one handgun to do almost everything, and the 19 shows up again and again. The Gen 5 tweaks don't scream for attention. The front strap is cleaner, the grip texture is more useful in bad conditions, and the internal refinements make the gun feel a little more consistent across different samples. What keeps the 19 at the center of the conversation in 2025 is everything built around it. Holsters of every style, magazines from multiple makers, replacement parts, aftermarket slides, barrels, triggers, optics plates. If you want to tailor a pistol to a specific job, odds are there is already a well-tested way to do it with this model. Plenty of shooters leave their 19 bone stock and simply shoot the wheels off it. Others build a red dot, weapon-light, high-visibility sight setup for home defense, and still carry the same gun under a loose shirt. It is not exciting, but it is proven, and that matters when you're picking one handgun to hang a lot of responsibility on. SIG Sauer 365X Macro. The original 365 kicked down the door for small guns with serious capacity. The X Macro takes that groundwork and stretches it into a pistol that blurs the line between compact and full-size performance. You get a longer, more controllable grip, a slide that incorporates gas ports at the front, and magazines that hold more rounds than most people were used to in something this slim a few years ago. Because of SIG's modular fire control unit design, the heart of the gun can move between different grip modules and top ends. In practice, most X Macro owners stick with the configuration they bought because it already does so much well. Recoil is tamed enough that follow-up shots with quality defensive 9mm stay honest, even for smaller frame shooters. Set up with a compact light and a closed emitter optic, it becomes a very capable home defense tool. Strip the accessories off, drop it into a minimalist inside the waistband rig, and it becomes an all-day carry pistol. that still gives you the confidence of a bigger gun. FN 509 Tactical. Some handguns feel like you need to buy $300 of extras before they're ready for serious work. The 509 Tactical shows up already dressed for it. The barrel extends past the slide and is threaded from the factory. The sights are raised so you can see them over common suppressors and optics, and the slide comes with a plate system that plays nicely with a wide range of red dots. The grip texture is assertive without being miserable, which pays off when your hands are wet, dirty, or gloved. Controls are mirrored on both sides of the frame and sized so that they are easy to hit intentionally, but not so oversized that they snag on gear. FN includes magazines that give you standard service pistol capacity and longer sticks for when you don't care about concealment and just want as many rounds on tap as you can reasonably carry. This is the pistol that often ends up as the dedicated home base gun, riding in a duty-style holster for classes, wearing a can and a light beside the bed, and getting the bulk of the serious training rounds. If you are the type who likes your gear slightly overbuilt, this one speaks your language. Those are 9 handguns that keep showing up where it counts in 2025. On belts, in lockers, on bedside tables, and on the firing line when the drills get real. Some lean toward deep concealment, some toward training in classes, some toward running suppressed or fully kitted for home defense. Your job is not to chase all of them. It is to figure out which role you need most. Pick a pistol that fits that job, and then put in the reps. If this breakdown helped you sort out the noise, hit the subscribe button, tell me in the comments what you run and why, and share this with a buddy who is still stuck scrolling spec sheets. I will catch you on the next range day. Until then, stay safe, stay squared away, and stay American.